Newcastle United 4, Manchester United 1. We're on until 7 o'clock here on BBC Radio Newcastle. Lots of ways to get in touch with us. You can give us a call, 0800 234 6565. Have a chat with John Anderson. 2 ways to send us messages as well. WhatsApp is 08000 321 333. Text messages are 81333. Start them all with the letters BBC. Put your name on the end of them as well. We'll come back to Ando in just a minute, but first we go straight to Chesterley Street at the tail end of day 3 of Durham against Warwickshire in the county championship. And Martin Emerson, Warwickshire now know what their target for victory is.
Yeah, Durham have just declared their second innings. They got to 276 for 8 and declared, so a lead of 338. They've given Warwickshire 4 overs to bat out tonight. They could get through them quite comfortably, or it could prove tricky. We shall see. It's a little bit gloomy here. We might need the floodlights on in a mo, but effectively 100 overs to chase 339. Durham were in a bit of trouble earlier on at 125 for 6, but then an 88-run partnership from the 7th wicket with David Beddingham batting with the runner making 45. Ben Rain made 81, and then Matty Potts and Daniel Hogg were knocking the ball around with a bit of ease towards the end. Potts making 38 not out and Hogg 12, couple of sixes from them, and that was when Durham decided to declare. So the target 339. They've got 4 overs to bat out tonight. They're currently 5 for none in the first of those overs, and then there'll be 96 overs tomorrow.
Martin, thank you very much indeed. If you want to listen to the final 4 overs of today, BBC Sport website and app is the place to go for that. But here, 4 overs. So 4 overs to go at the cricket. We had 4 goals from Newcastle United this afternoon. I'll let you know, in case you've joined us late, the other scores, the other results. They are now in the Premier League. 4 games in total, including this one. The other 3 kicked off at 2 o'clock. Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2. Chelsea coming from 2-0 down at half-time. Liverpool left it late to beat West Ham by 2-1. Virgil van Dijk in the 89th minute. It is now a 13-point lead for Liverpool at the top of the Premier League, and Wolves beat Spurs by 4-2. John Anderson, man of the match. There's a challenge for you.
Either Livramento or Tonali, I think. I thought Livramento was brilliant again at left back. He's just so good. He seems to get forward an awful lot more from left back than he does from right back. But he just looks so comfortable there. I thought he was excellent. Tonali's energy levels and the things he does from a defensive point of view, he's just brilliant. You know, he's excellent. He was so it would be between the two of them, I would say, Colin. I thought they were both immense. Well,
you've read the mind of Brian in Gateshead, who sent us a message to say, I can't make up my mind about man of the match today. So it's a joint one between Sandro Tonali and Tino Livramento. And that is, I mean, it's one of those games where, yes, you've got a couple of standouts, maybe 3 or 4 standouts if we're pushed to pick a name.
Yeah, I mean,
but second half, Harvey Barnes obviously scored twice.
Of course, yeah.
But that's, in the second half in particular, was a very strong team performance.
Yeah, excellent. We upped the tempo, we upped the pace of the game in the second half, and Manchester United couldn't get out. You know, they didn't help themselves, to be fair, by keep giving the ball away, and the goalkeeper sticking it on the head of Joe Linton for Guimarães' goal. But you know, you can only beat what's in front of you, and they comfortably beat them. You know, they could have won it by more. You know, there was chances in that first half. The Manchester United goal, you didn't see it coming, to be fair. You know, it just came out of absolutely nothing. But even at half time, you're 1-1. You still never thought we weren't going to win the game. No. You know, you always felt that we were so much better than them, to be fair, and the scoreline proved.
Let's have a chat to a different Brian who has given us a call. That number again, 0800 234 6565, to chat with John Anderson for the next 25 minutes or so. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Colin. Good evening, Ando.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, John. I just 100% agree with you about Tonali. He's like a thoroughbred racehorse. The comment on the TV that in the last minute or whatever, he was still chasing down and winning balls. He's absolutely got a phenomenal engine on him. He's just outstanding. But what I wanted to talk about was, I think at half time, John, I thought, oh no, here we go again. You know, lifelong supporter since the 6th. I'm not used to Newcastle. I'm not used to the new Newcastle. I'm not used to, we'll do what it's got to go. We're going to lose 2-1 or whatever. And I think the crowd were nervy, John. I don't know if you agree. I think the crowd seemed nervous after they equalised.
It I think it was mostly shock because the goal just came out of nowhere, Brian. No, I don't think anybody inside St James has seen that goal coming.
No.
Manchester United didn't do anything. They didn't deserve a goal, to be fair. You know, we should have been out of sight at half time. We had chances. And as I just said to Colin, even though it was 1-1 at half time, it never entered my head that we weren't going to win the game. You know, I always felt that we would up the tempo and we would score in the second half, and it was a convincing win. You know, it could have been more as well, to be perfectly honest. You know,
I agree with you, John. What you said half time about we need up the intensity, but did straight away.
Yeah.
The point I'd like to make is, I mean, there was so many good performances. Tonali, young Tino were excellent, but I wanted to make reference to Barnes.
Yeah.
Because before Anthony Gordon's ban, there was doubts about Barnes. People were saying, have we made the right signing? He doesn't fit in with the team, he doesn't fit in with house style. And then since Anthony Gordon trained off, Barnes was he really took advantage of it and he's made the place his own. And I think today is his best ever performance in a black and white shirt.
Yeah, look, he's had to wait a long time. You know, it wasn't his fault that Gordon got sent off, but he's taken full advantage of that since getting in. His performance levels have been excellent. I think it's going to be difficult for Anthony Gordon to get back in. You know,
I couldn't agree more, John. Couldn't agree more.
I think Barnes has been, as I say, the 4 games that he's played since, he's been top class, and took us 2 goals really well today. And that's the thing. I think he's got goals in him. You know,
yes.
I like Gordon. I think Gordon's high energy, high intensity, but I just think that Barnes is a better finisher as well. You know, I think Barnes is a better finisher, and I think Anthony Gordon may have to wait a little time to get back into the side on a regular basis.
Well, that's 5 games that Anthony Gordon has missed through a combination of suspension and injury. Newcastle have won all 5.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a correlation. I just think there's no drop off.
No, there's not. Look, the one thing players know, players know that when they get the opportunity, they've got to take it. And if they take the opportunity, if they get in the side and play well, Eddie Howe will stick with them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what Barnes has done. Barnes has grabbed the opportunity. He's had to wait a long time for it, but he's most definitely grabbed it with both hands.
Would you make any changes, Brian, for Crystal Palace here on Wednesday night to your starting 11?
Not unless there's fatigue or injury kicks in. I don't know who could come in, really, apart from Anthony Gordon. And you wouldn't replace Murphy or Barnes. You never would have thought you would have said that early in the season, but Murphy's having the time of his career at Newcastle at the moment, way beyond what he's ever done before. And Barnes has been out of his skin, so I don't know how you can change it unless someone picks up a knock or there's a bit of fatigue there or whatever. And I thought Jason Tindall did really well at the end when he put them 4 subs on, giving people a rest, you know. So no, I don't think I would change it, but it's not going to be. It's going to be difficult because we've got that game Wednesday night. Is it Saturday, John, or Sunday? We're playing Villa, so
Saturday evening we go to Aston Villa.
So it's going to be 2 tough games, John.
Yeah. Look at there's no easy games, but the one thing they've got abundance of confidence and belief this side. You know, they fancy themselves against anybody, and they're capable of beating anybody. I don't think Wednesday night will be easy, but I'm with you. I don't see any changes being made at all. I think everybody wants to play, everybody wants to be in the team, and I think if you were to leave anybody out, Colin, I think they'd be bitterly disappointed. I don't see any changes at all come Wednesday night.
Probably fair. Brian, thank you very much indeed for talking to us
Brian.
this evening. Thank you. That number to call, 0800 234 6565. There's kind of 2 reasons, Ando, for saying that you don't expect any changes, or you wouldn't make any changes unless they were forced for Wednesday night. One, as we've touched on, is how good the performance was tonight, individually and collectively. The other one that Brian kind of touched on as well is when you look at today's bench, apart from Anthony Gordon, there's not really anybody pushing for a start.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You know, you look at
people that can do a job, but nobody who's probably unfairly on the bench.
I'd go along with that. Yeah, I mean, you've got Wilson on the bench, who you know can come on, who's a good player. You know, there's no doubt about it. He is a good player, but is he better than Alexander Isak? No, he's not. You know, you've got Emil Kraft, who's a solid player and do a job. Is he better than Trippier? No. Matt Targett the same, you know. And then you've got the young boys. You've got young Miley and young Neve who are on the bench. Sean Longstaff, who's played a lot of football. You know, he's an experienced player, but are they better than the 11 that's in the starting 11? No, but they can. You're right in what you're saying. They can come on and they can do a job for you. You know, to give a breather as Guy Moresh, Trippier, Joe Linton got today, you know, so they come on and they do the job.
We've got a text that doesn't have a name on it, but we have had a text or message from this person before who says, I'm a Manchester United fan living in Newcastle. Well done to Newcastle, they wanted it more. We were a joke and embarrassing. You might not use those words, Ando. I quite often don't like talking too much about the opposition because we're here to talk about Newcastle United. But in 60 seconds, how poor were Manchester United? And why were they so poor?
Oh, they were woeful. You know, it's one thing being poor, but it's another thing not running around and chasing and tackling and putting yourself on the line. And I didn't think anybody in Manchester United Red did that today. You know, I said the razor at the end there, and I've never said it to me, but at times it looked like there was players in red shorts who actually weren't trying. It looked like it didn't care enough to them, to be quite honest. But look, that's their problems.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And Razor kind of mentioned it towards the end. Manchester United now on 38 points, only 3 points clear of West Ham in 17th, who are bottom of everyone bar the soon-to-be relegated trio of Ipswich, Leicester and Southampton. Let's have a chat then to Andrew, who's next on the line. Good evening, Andrew.
Hi Colin, hi Ando.
Hi Andrew, how are you doing?
Excellent.
Good.
For me, that's cup final aside, that's the result of the season. I don't hide my dislike of Man United. I despise them, and for me, it's other than the cup final, it's the result of the season. I thought we were absolutely brilliant from minute one. You could tell from about 10 minutes that this Man United team have got nothing. And it was incredibly comfortable. How it was 1-1 at half time, I have no idea. But it was just a thoroughly comfortable, professional performance. Everybody contributed. You know, that's 6 goals in the last 2 games and Isak hasn't scored. But I thought even today he was better than he was against Leicester. I thought he was always a threat, always a danger. I thought he's running with the ball, causing problems. But it's good that we're contributing in other areas as well. I thought Livramento was fantastic. Tonali was brilliant. But everybody was an 8 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It was just a thoroughly good, professional, comfortable performance, and it couldn't have came against a better opposition, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, I agree. I thought it was professional. I sat here watching it. I was amazed when Manchester United scored because I couldn't see how they were going to score. It just came totally out of the blue. But even so, you know, at 1-1 at half time, I wasn't worried. I was still convinced that we'd win the game. You know, and I don't think 4-1 flatters Manchester United at all. I think it could have been more. You know, but look, it's. The one thing this team has got at the moment is got bags of belief and bags of confidence, and they fancy themselves against anybody. And it was just a good professional job. I thought second half we were really good. I thought the energy levels, we upped the tempo, got in and around Manchester United. I thought we stood off them a little bit first half, but I thought second half we were excellent. I thought we were brilliant.
Yeah, well, and you know, it gives us so much belief going forward. We've really taken a lot of momentum from winning at Wembley. We've won every game since. And Wednesday night's going to be a really tough game. It's going to be a far tougher game than today was. I know Palace got battered at Manchester City, but I still think it'll be a tough test. But we should be getting 3 points, I think, on Wednesday, John. If we play like that again, you know, we don't need to make any changes. It was great to see Anthony go, but Harvey Barnes has been brilliant since he's had his chance. So, same again, John. Same again.
Yeah, I agree. We were just talking about that earlier. You know, I don't see any changes being made. I do agree. I think Wednesday night will be tougher than today. I think Palace will have a little bit more about them than Manchester United had today. But yeah, I just think the way things are going, you'd fancy us big style on Wednesday night. You know, and it's the game in hand that we've got, and you'd like to think that we'd be able to take advantage of it.
Indeed, Andrew, thank you very much indeed for talking to us again. 0800 234 6565, the number to call if you're quick to have a chat with Ando. If you're not quite quick enough, then we can book you in. Total Sport back from 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. You and I will be on Total Sport tomorrow evening, and joined by Lee Cattermole, former Sunderland midfielder, who is in for Marco for a good chunk of next week. A couple more of your messages before we talk to John, who is next on the line. This one from Morris in Rothbury says, great result today, 4 great goals against the worst Manchester United team in years. Up the Premier League we go. Just a reminder, Newcastle now 4th in the Premier League after today's win on 56 points, 1 point behind Nottingham Forest, who have 57, 1 ahead of Manchester City on 55, then Chelsea and Aston Villa both have 54. But crucially, Newcastle United's game here that we've just been talking about against Crystal Palace on Wednesday night is their game in hand on every single one of those teams that we have just mentioned. Are Newcastle United the 4th best team in the Premier League, Ando?
Well, the league doesn't lie. You know, at this moment in time, yeah, they are. Yeah. They are. Of course they are.
And they could be the 3rd best team.
Yeah, and come Wednesday night, they probably will be the 3rd best team. You hope. Liverpool are the best team in the Premier League because they're sitting top of the table. You know, and it's been a real strange Premier League season because it's all about consistency, and Liverpool have been the most consistent side in the league. You know, and that's why they are where they are. But yeah, I mean, and as I say, come Wednesday night, 10 o'clock or whatever time it's going to be, hopefully we'll be the 3rd best team.
Hopefully not 10 o'clock. It's a 7:30 kickoff on Wednesday night, so we could
well, we'll still be here though, won't we?
We'll be here until 10 o'clock, but the league table will be decided by 10 o'clock. Let's bring in John then, who's been listening to that little chat. Good evening, John.
It's not very often that Ando gets something wrong.
Yeah, cherish it. Write it down. Make a note. Yeah, you got to be delighted with pretty much every aspect of this afternoon, John.
Over the moon, Colin. I mean, at half time, I think the only thing we were disappointed about is the fact that it was only 1-1. Paul Man United was still level. We should have been out of sight, really. But full credit to the lads. Obviously, they've regrouped and got it sorted. I've got to say though, I'm running out of quality things to say about Tino Livramento and Sandro Tonali. Whatever Eddie Howe has done to them both, it's been absolutely tremendous, and credit to the lads as well. The only thing I'm gutted about today, I had a feeling Tonali was going to get the first goal and I didn't back it, so a bit gutted that I didn't go with my gut instinct. But no, I mean, it was a super performance today, but I thought yet again, I know it was one of those performances where every single player did the part, but if I had to give a special mention or contenders for man of the match, those two would be right up there for me.
I agree. Yeah, we spoke about it earlier on. You know, I thought Livramento has been brilliant since going to left back. He just looks so comfortable there. And Tonali's just he's a Rolls Royce in there. He really is. He's got a great engine. I mean, even right at the death, he's carried the ball 50, 60 yards into the corner. And he looked as strong in the last minute as he did in the first minute. He just gets better game by game. He's phenomenal. Definitely. He really is. He's strong. He uses the ball well. He defends well. He gets forward well. He's just a complete midfield player.
No, I cannot disagree with that. Was Trippier injured, Ando, when he came off, or was that just as a precaution to save him for Wednesday?
Might have been old age.
Took a couple of little knocks.
He did take a couple of knocks, but yeah, I would think it's just a precaution to keep him right. You know, he's not getting any younger. The game was over. If you can give him a few minutes rest, albeit, you know, but he'll be fine, I would think, for Wednesday evening.
Should we be concerned, I know that Isaac's got a few games now without scoring, or is it great that everyone else is chipping in? And he hasn't been on the score sheet, which will probably make him more angry that he isn't scoring. Yeah. So.
No, look, I think it's great that all of a sudden everybody else is starting to chip in with goals.
Definitely.
You don't want to become too reliant on one person. I don't think he'll be happy that he's gone the length of time he's gone without scoring. But you know, it'll be like London buses, won't it? When he gets one, he'll be up and running again. So yeah, he'll be disappointed because centre forwards, it's all about scoring goals for them, isn't it? They love scoring goals. It's what they want to do. But yet again today, his movement and some of his touches today, he was even though he didn't score, he was still very, very good.
And to be fair to him, John, it is only 2 games without a goal.
No, that's what I mean, because obviously when he doesn't score, it's all of a sudden a crisis that he hasn't scored. But in some ways, I don't know if you agree, that does me, because it keeps the headlines makers off his back and saying he's been linked. Or although saying that the story tomorrow will be that he's been linked with Liverpool, and that's why he hasn't scored the last 2 games.
What was the final point you were going to make, John?
It was just a double check. Did Razor at the start of the season have us down for a League Cup win and 3rd place finish? Because he's already got 1 right, if that's true.
Oh, that's going to take me longer than I've got to find. But yes, he definitely predicted the League Cup victory.
Yeah, he did. So did I.
And all right then.
And I predicted Liverpool to win the league and us to finish 3rd. And
Isak's top scorer as well, Andor, didn't you?
I put Isak in as top scorer. I put the 3 relegated sides in.
Back halfway through the season, you had that down as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lottery numbers on Tuesday night, Andor.
Oh, don't use my lottery numbers. Honestly, I never even get one, to be quite honest.
That's just my look at the minute, to be fair. Anyway, thanks very much for your time, lads.
Cheers, John. Take it easy. All the best.
Pleasure to talk to you, John. Thank you very much indeed. That is going to be it in terms of phone callers tonight, but a reminder, as I gave you a few minutes ago, Total Sport back at 6 o'clock. Of course it is tomorrow evening. Simon Pride is off for the week, so I will be in for him Monday to Thursday, and then Easter weekend's a bit different. We'll worry about Easter weekend next weekend, but as far as Newcastle are concerned, it's Crystal Palace here on Wednesday night, and then Aston Villa away at 5:30 on Saturday. We've talked a little bit, and we've got a couple of minutes left here, talked a little bit about the not lack of strength in depth, but the team kind of picking itself, and then there maybe being a little bit of a drop off in quality when you look at that bench. Can Jason Tindall, who is at the moment, pick the same starting 11 for 3 games in a week?
Yeah.
Physically, I mean. Can he ask that of players? In the 30
I think so, because look at, and I'm not being disrespectful to Leicester here, but the Leicester game didn't take a great deal out of us, and you would say today didn't take a great deal out of us either. We didn't have to work particularly hard in those 2 games to win. You know, it's not as if you're busting a gut all the time to get a result. Both results and both games were very, very comfortable. So I think, you know, he was able to take at Leicester last week, he was able to rest players. He was able to rest players again tonight. So I think physically, yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, 7:30 Wednesday. You know, it's getting to the stage of the season where you know you don't have to do a great deal in training because you're down to the final straight, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, and you're just getting through games. So no, I've got no worries about that at all, Colin.
Kim, who is from Newcastle United Belgium FC, sent us a message with a question for you. How many points, Ando, do you reckon Newcastle United need to secure at least 4th? Now, I don't necessarily know how much of a difference it makes between being 4th and 5th, because there will be 5 Champions League places this season. Newcastle have won 5 games in a row. They're in fantastic form. They are, but it is still extremely tight. They are only 2 points clear of Villa in 7th and Chelsea in 6th. So this run needs to continue. They're a long way from guaranteeing themselves Champions League football here.
Oh, yeah, there's still plenty of football to be played. There's still twists and turns to happen. You know, all you can do is just keep tapping away. Keep winning your games, and a little bit like today, hope that somebody else can do you a little bit of a favour, like Ipswich getting a point at Chelsea, like Everton winning at Forest yesterday. But first and foremost, you look after yourself, and I'm a great believer, if you look after yourself, come the end of 38 games, you finish exactly where you deserve to finish, because you've done your utmost, you know.
Exactly.
And it's in our hands, you know, it's in our hands. But there's still tough games to come. You know, you've got Wednesday night, Villa. I think Villa next weekend is absolutely huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
And then we've got Chelsea here. We've got to go to Arsenal. We've got to go to Brighton. You know, so there's tough games in there, and I'm not one for getting ahead of ourselves. Just keep ticking them off. Just put a little tick over today, get through Wednesday, put another tick, and we see where we end up. Never knowingly overexcited is John Anderson. Thank you very much indeed, Ando. As always, I'm going to let you go, Ando. You'll be back on Total Sport at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. Just a reminder then of the other scores, the other results. We've kind of alluded to them in the last few minutes in the Premier League today. Chelsea 2, Ipswich 2, doing Newcastle United a favour. Ipswich were 2-0 up at half-time as well in that one. Liverpool left it late but beat West Ham by 2-1. Virgil van Dijk with the winner in the last minute of the 90. That's now a 13-point lead for Liverpool at the top of the Premier League. And Wolves beat Spurs by 4-2. They were a couple up at half time as well. Manchester United's women are through to the FA Cup final. They'll play Chelsea. They're the holders, Manchester United, and they beat Manchester City 2-0 today. Bizet and Grace Clinton with the goals in the first half. Peterborough United won the EFL trophy. They beat Birmingham City, who Birmingham were crowned League One champions yesterday without having to play, but they lost at Wembley this afternoon. In the Women's Championship, Newcastle United, not much riding on it anymore in terms of promotion, but a thumping 6-0 victory for them over Blackburn. Shania Hales, Freya Gregory, Beth Lumsden in the first half, Emily Murphy, and 2 from Isabella Sibley in the second. That is it. It's been a very successful afternoon as far as Newcastle United are concerned. At St James's Park today, a 4-1 victory over Manchester United takes them 4th in the table. Lots for us to go through when Total Sport is back at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Murphy for Trippier, 30 yards out, low ball in, Isak takes it down, here's a chance, what a finish! Sandro Tonali on the end of that one. They won it back from Manchester United in the middle. Trippier to Isak, who gets the assist with a lifted ball over the top, and Tonali gave it the hammer and into the bottom corner for his 5th goal of the season. It's Newcastle United 1, Manchester United 0.
Great finish. It's a great hit, isn't it, across the goalkeeper.
Diogo Dalot here on the charge, burst forwards into the centre. Garnacho to the right. Garnacho's got it in the penalty box. Garnacho has scored. Manchester United have equalised. They don't deserve it, but Alejandro Garnacho, after it was won back in midfield, and then the burst from Dalot, left-footed, has curled it around Nick Pope and in off the base of the post. 37 minutes. Newcastle United 1, Manchester United 1. Tino Livramento attacking on the outside. Good skill. Livramento, great cross. Murphy cuts it back into the net. Into the net. Following in, Harvey Barnes scores. Jacob Murphy kept it alive after Livramento. Terrific play up the left wing into the area. He attacks so well from left back. Murphy at the back stick, put it back into the centre, and Barnes arriving, slammed it in. 49th minute, Newcastle United 2, Manchester United 1.
Oh, Livramento does brilliant down that left side.
Now Barnes putting Mazraoui under pressure. He slipped. Barnes has got it. Isak could be played in. Barnes might go all the way. Oh! Harvey Barnes! Brilliantly taken goal. His second of the afternoon after Mazraoui slipped. Barnes was alive and quick and drove through the centre of the Manchester United defence. Slammed the ball into the top of the net at the Gallagher end, and they have pulled further clear. 64 minutes, Newcastle United 3, Manchester United 1. Also coming on is Luke Shaw, the England defender who's made only 3 appearances this season because of injury. This is his 3rd match in a row on the bench. Oh, give it away! Bruno's in! Bruno scores! The goalkeeper gave it away, and it was headed forwards by Joelinton, straight to captain Bruno, who slotted it under Bayindir to make it Newcastle United 4, Manchester United 1.
Total Sport North East.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.